is the process of using game concepts to engage users. Simple. Any concepts that we can take from games and use them outside of games to create engagement with users, that's gamification. And we're seeing this trend all over the place. It's not necessarily a new concept in its framework. I mean, if you remember the movie War Games, you'll remember from the early 80s, Matthew Broderick playing a game with a computer, right? And in the real world, that actually resulted in real world ramifications. So Hollywood's been talking about, the military's used it. What's new is it's being used in practical terms by marketers and business people all around the world to create new types of engagement and value. To the point where Gartner Group recently released its first study on the effect of gamification. And among other things, Brian Burke at Gartner said that by the year 2015, 70% of the global 2,000, that is the world's 2,000 largest companies, will have deployed and be actively using a gamified application in business. To wit, M2 research earlier this year also showed that that will result in about $1 billion worth of spending on gamification-related products and services. So this is spending on gamification products and services by these companies in the United States and beyond, about $1 billion by 2015, which will make gamification faster growing in terms of marketing spend and social media. And as we were discussing last night over dinner, certainly more accountable than most kinds of social media campaigns that have gone before it. So gamification growing very rapidly, being adopted broadly speaking. But let's also talk about what it's not, because I think it's important to also understand what I'm not talking about today. So gamification is not crappy badges on your shady website. Okay? Let me be clear. If your product or service does not have good fit with your market, gamification will not overcome that obstacle of gamification, some of whom can be seen up here, big brands, hot startups, agencies. It's a lot of fun, in addition to everything else that I do. And for those of you who don't know, we have 2 hands-on workshops here in Australia tomorrow, and then in 3 days from now in Melbourne, that are run by the elite guys, and I'm doing hands-on, outcomes-oriented gamification work. So if you're interested in this subject in greater detail, working on a project that relates to gamification, see one of the elite guys, or there should be some forums around. Come join us tomorrow here in Sydney, or on the 19th in Melbourne. Okay, so did you guys see Different Strokes here in Australia? Do you remember the show? Okay, so go in. They cannot go in. They stand outside the unit and then engage in an all-cash, winner-takes-all bidding war for the contents of the unit without knowing what's in it. Okay? I'm serious. This is really the show. Okay? It is the classic killer game in its most extreme form. The winner of the auction closes the door, puts their own lock on it, and then figures out what they want. And if you watch the show, you will see these killers at work in their perfect form. They don't even sometimes give a shit about what's in the unit. They just don't want that other guy to get that win. And they're out there like bidding against each other for stuff they have no idea what it is. Sometimes thousands of dollars in all cash auctions. I don't know if I mentioned that before, where they can't actually check the stuff out. And they don't even get to see what the other person won. Like you only see it on the TV show. In real life, you never get to see what was in the unit. Extreme. So here's how extreme. Okay, so here's how killers are different from achievers, because you're probably thinking that sounds a lot like an achiever. Here's the difference. The difference between a killer and an achiever is not just that I want to win, because that's in common between the two of them. It's that I want to win and you have to lose. And not only do you have to lose, I want all of you to see me kick her butt. And the more of you see it, the happier I am. And stuff are what users want, in order. Of stickiest to least sticky, and conveniently for you, least expensive to most expensive. Status, access, power, and stuff is the reward hierarchy that your users want. Create great status, give them access to things they've never had before, give them power over other people. Those things all create value for users and create long-term engagement with them. Let me be super clear. I'm not opposed to giving free things to users. I'm sure almost everyone of you in the room who works on marketing campaigns has at one time or another run one that has, or currently runs one, that gives away free things to users. Free meal here with Joel and Aaron. from Story, who are going to come up and join us for a second. And they wanted me to tell you that they're awesome guys. That was literally in their instructions to me, but it's actually true. They actually are awesome guys. So I would have said that naturally anyway without incentive. But you know, in my work, I meet a lot of people who are creative and interesting and doing kind of cool things, doing it from a place of deep experience and also from a place of passion about the meaning and value of those things. And it was obvious to me yesterday when I was talking to Joel and Aaron how passionate they are about the concept of creating engagement using not only game techniques but other concepts. And so I'm very, very excited to bring them up here and introduce them to you. So Joel and Aaron from Story, come on up here. Tell us something cool about user engagement.